My grandmother never saw the sky again after day 19. She went down the bore shaft on day 3 of the surface clearance protocol, when the Vorath orbital platforms were still working their way east across the Atlantic seaboard, and the atmosphere above Sector 9 had begun to turn the color of a forge. She was carrying two things: a sealed data chip with the colony engineering schematics, and her daughter, my mother, 11 days old, wrapped in insulation foil against the heat already radiating through the tunnel walls. She chiseled what she remembered into the stone of sublevel 40, where the rock was cool enough to hold a chisel and the air recyclers still ran clean. I read it every morning of my childhood. The platforms numbered 19. The bombardment ran 19 days, one platform per day, each one walking its fire across a single longitudinal band of the surface until the crust vitrified. Methodical. They did not fire in anger. They filed it as Surface Clearance Protocol, Administrative Designation, Vorath Census Record 7 de Sora Null, Reclassification of Earth as a Cleared Asset. 4.1 billion people became a line item. 340 million of us became a notation error they never bothered to correct. Remnant population, subsurface, non-viable, census closed. They forgot to check the tunnels. That was their only mistake, and it took them 411 years to learn. It cost them everything. I was born on sublevel 12 of bore shaft 7, in a chamber we called the nursery, because it was the warmest room in the complex, and the rock walls were smooth from 4 generations of hands laid against them in the dark. I never saw sunlight until I was 31 years old. None of us born below sublevel 6 did. The shafts were sealed from the inside on day 20, the day the surface readings confirmed total atmospheric toxicity, and they stayed sealed, not because we were afraid to open them, because we were building. The admiralty my grandmother helped found in year 3 of the below had one standing order, written on the same stone wall as her chiseled memory. We do not surface until we can answer every ship that fired. 19 platforms, 19 answers. We gave them 620. The Vorath hegemony, by the time we surfaced, had become the sort of empire that coasts. 4 centuries of unchallenged dominance will do that to a species. Their patrol routes were logged. Their orbital platform cadences were unchanged from the original clearance schematics my grandmother had copied before she went underground. We confirmed this by tapping their beacon traffic 17 years before we moved, just to be certain. Their records still listed Earth as census closed. No garrison. No survey ping in over 200 years. A dead world, filed and forgotten. They had never imagined we were down there. They had never imagined us at all, in the way that matters. The bore shaft hatches opened on year 411, day 1, at 0400 hours system standard, across all 214 surface shafts simultaneously. 620 warships, built in the dark over 4 centuries, in tunnels carved by people who had never seen the machines they were building fight, only imagined it. The hulls were black from tunnel smoke. The engines ran on the geothermal cores we'd drilled down to in year 14, and they were quiet. They made almost no sound at all. I was on the bridge of Heron's Ridge, named for the ridgeline above bore shaft 7, the first geographic feature any of us had words for, though none of us had seen it. I held the hatch release myself, not for ceremony, because my grandmother had held the shaft seal lever when she closed it, 411 years before, and someone who had read her stone wall 1,000 times and carried her name in the middle of mine seemed like the right person to open it again. The hatch took 40 seconds to cycle. Then there was sky. I don't have words adequate to it, even now. I have tried. Blue, my people said. We had the word from records, from the photographs preserved on the data chip my grandmother carried down. But the word blue is not the thing itself. The thing itself is vast in a way that makes the chest seize, that makes the hands grip the nearest solid surface. My navigator, Davin Solis, born on sublevel 9, had to be relieved for 6 minutes because he could not stop weeping. I didn't relieve him for the weeping. I relieved him because he had stopped looking at his instruments. The surface was still scarred. 4 centuries of atmospheric recovery had given us back breathable air and a sky, but the rock where the clearance fires had vitrified was still black glass in long parallel bands, 1 per platform, walking east to west, 19 lines across the face of the world like a signature. like a record. We had always said they looked like a record. My grandmother had written that in the stone, too. We had the Vorath beacon frequencies. We broadcast on all of them at 0401 hours, 1 minute after the hatches opened, before a single one of our ships had cleared the bore shaft collars. I read the message myself. It was short. Surface Clearance Protocol, Vorath Census Record 7 Sora Null, error correction follows. Earth population, subsurface, viable. Current strength, 620 warships. Vorath orbital infrastructure, this system and all adjacent corridors, is hereby designated for immediate accounting. We are matching your platform count. You fired 19. We are sending 32 platforms worth. This transmission constitutes the complete record of our intent. No further communication will be issued. We did not wait for a reply. The Vorath First Response Platform, the same model as the ones that had cleared our surface, because they had never upgraded, because they had never needed to, because there was no one left to make them, came online over the Northern Hemisphere at 0618 hours. It was Platform 7 of the original 19, the platform that had walked fire across Central Asia on Day 7 of the clearance. The Heron's Ridge took it apart in 11 minutes. One platform, 11 minutes. The Vorath had 19 platforms in our system. We had the same targeting geometry my grandmother had preserved on her data chip, because they had never moved them. Why would they? The world was dead. There was no one to threaten. We dismantled them in the same order they had fired. Platform 1 last, because Platform 1 had started the protocol, and we wanted the sequence to be legible to any Vorath archive that was still recording. Platform 19, Day 1 of the accounting. Platform 1, Day 19 of the accounting. 19 days. 1 day for each of theirs. The hegemony sent a response fleet on Day 6. 43 warships out of Vorath's Cathara staging base, their standard pacification formation, the same class profile used to suppress 3 other species in the last 2 centuries. We had studied their doctrine for 60 years in the tunnels, on the same archived beacon traffic we'd used to confirm their patrol cadences. We knew the formation. We knew the response time. We had pre-positioned 212 ships in the debris shadow of the outer asteroid belt before the hatches opened. The Vorath pacification fleet did not reach the inner system. Their home clusters, all 11 primary systems, all 41 secondary installations, we reached over the following 3 days. 620 ships, working the target list in order of the original clearance priority as recorded in Census Document 7 Sora Null. They had filed it. We used their own filing system. Every installation logged in that document received an accounting entry. We did not destroy anything that was not on the list. We did not fire on anything that had not fired on us, or built the platforms that had, or maintained the census record that declared us extinct and non-viable, and not worth a survey ping in 200 years. The Vorath Consul General hailed us on Day 17. We did not respond. Not out of hatred. Not out of rage. The accounting was not complete. You do not halt an audit to take questions. On Day 22, the last entry in Census Record 7 Sora Null was closed. I filed our own census record that evening, from the bridge of Heron's Ridge, in stationary orbit above the world my grandmother had gone underground to protect. Bore shaft hatches open. 620 warships, all hulls intact, all crews present and accounted for. Population, viable. I sent it on every Vorath frequency, every Galactic Council frequency, every open channel in the corridor. Then I closed the file. My grandmother had chiseled her record into stone because she did not trust anything less permanent. I understand that now. Some things need to be written in materials that last. The Vorath hegemony declared us extinct. We gave them 411 years to be right about that. They weren't.